Hi guys, cinematic recap here. Before we start, warning. Spoilers ahead. Today, I'm gonna explain an inspirational drama movie, called The Intern. The movie tells the story of Ben Whitaker, a 70-year-old widower who enjoys his retirement by doing various exciting activities, such as doing yoga, visiting his son's house, and playing golf. He also travels a lot with his retirement savings. It is revealed that he does this every day to distract himself from his loneliness since he lost his wife. One day, he sees a job vacancy while he is walking home. There is a fast-growing e-commerce fashion startup in Brooklyn, called About the Fit, which sells its products online. Uniquely, the company is looking for a senior intern to serve as role model for other young employees. He immediately applies for the position because he has a lot of work experiences in the business and marketing fields. He had held a strategic position in a telephone book printing company for 40 years. Besides, he feels his retirement has become too boring for him. Long story short, Ben is accepted into the startup as a senior intern. When he first comes to work, many other employees are astonished by the presence of a senior intern like him, some even underestimate him because of his old age. However, Ben does not mind at all because he believes that he can work well with his experiences. Moreover, he also likes new challenges. Sometime later, Ben receives an email informing him that he has been assigned to work with the CEO of the startup, Jules Austin. In her office, Jules immediately expresses her doubts about Ben's performance because of his advanced age. However, Jules' statement does not discourage Ben. Instead, he is increasingly eager to reassure Jules that he will try to adapt and achieve his work goals. He also helps numerous employees with their tasks. Meanwhile, Jules is in discussions with her investor about a potential new CEO to replace her at the startup. The investor feels that she is unable to cope with the workload. Not only that, the employees also do not like Jules because she is often late for meetings. In the end, she is forced to accept the decision despite her objections, and in the near future she is scheduled to meet with the new CEO candidate. One day, Ben comes to work at 7 o'clock a.m. to organize a messy desk that Jules had complained about previously. That way, he knows how to make Jules happy after finding out that she will be replaced with a new potential CEO. Later, he also meets his new crush Fiona, a middle-aged woman just like him who works as a massage therapist in the office. After work, Ben notices Jules' chauffeur drinking alcohol. Because of that, he convinces the driver to leave and drives Jules home himself to prevent any untoward things. On their way, the investor suddenly calls Jules to remind her that she has to meet with the first CEO candidate. When Jules is in a meeting, Ben is willing to wait for his boss outside. When the meeting ends, Ben picks up some soup for Jules because he knows she is hungry. Jules then tells her investor that this first CEO candidate was not a good fit for the startup. When they arrive at Jules' house, Ben motivates her that she has been made a great startup and she knows what to do next. After that, she is greeted by her husband, Matt, and her daughter, Paige. It is revealed that her husband gave up his own career to be a stay-at-home dad to their daughter when About the Fit started to take off. Hence, their marriage is slowly breaking apart recently as the couple grows more distant. The next morning, Ben is asked to help pick up Jules again because her usual driver cannot be reached. Arriving there, he is greeted by Matt and introduces himself to Paige. Meanwhile, Jules is surprised to see Ben at her house so early in the morning. Before going to the office, they take Paige to the school first. During the trip, Ben asks several questions about Jules' personal life. Unfortunately, she secretly asks one of her employees to transfer Ben to be an intern for someone else because she is annoyed by his overly attentive nature. That day, Ben works late into the night, leaving only himself and Jules in the office. Therefore, Jules invites him out for a meal and tells him that she turned down the other CEO candidates at the meeting because he was still not a good fit for the startup. On the other hand, Ben eventually reveals that he once worked in the same building where About the Fit is now located. According to Ben, the building is like his second home, although it's a little different. Their conversation ends when Ben drives Jules back to her house. The next day, Jules arrives to the car to see Ben has been replaced as her driver by Doris. She is a horrible driver, driving into someone else's car and almost crashing into a building. As a result, Jules decides to drive to About the Fit. When she gets there, she immediately apologizes to Ben and begs him to come back to work with her, which Ben agrees to. Afterwards, he becomes very committed to Jules. In fact, he also becomes something of a father figure to several of the younger workers, by offering advice about issues such as love, close sense and work/life balance. He also provides one of them with a place to stay at his house after being evicted by his parents. One time, Jules accidentally sends an embarrassingly scathing email to his mother because her mother likes to interfere in her work. Surely enough, this incident makes her panic after realizing this. Therefore, she enlists the help of Ben and other employees to delete the email. Ben has an idea to break into her mother's house and take her laptop because now her mom is not at home. In the end, they succeed in carrying out Ben's plan, though they are almost caught by the police when the alarm goes off as they break into the house. To celebrate their success, Jules invites them to a bar in the night. After that, Ben takes the time to date Fiona until they finally fall in love. At the same day, Jules asks Ben to take Paige to a birthday party because Matt isn't feeling well. Arriving at the party, Paige suddenly feels sick too, so they have to go home early. On the way home, Ben accidentally sees Matt making out with another woman in a car. Meanwhile, Matt asks Ben what Jules thinks of the future CEO candidate. He replies that Jules initially disagreed with the decision, but at the end she still accepted it for the sake of her company, the investors, and so she can spend time with her husband and children. He just wants Jules to be happy regardless of the choices she makes. When he returns to the office, Ben looks down after finding out what Matt had done earlier. Jules and the other employees also notice something different about Ben. However, he still says that everything is fine. During a business trip to San Francisco to interview a potential CEO candidate, Ben wants Jules to have fun without having to think about her job. At the hotel, the two talk about their respective married lives. Surprisingly, Jules reveals that she already knows about Matt's affair, but she has not confronted Matt about it because she is not prepared to deal with it. The following morning, Ben waits for Jules to finish her meeting with the final CEO candidate. Once done, she feels this candidate is a good fit for the company, but she will contact him tomorrow for the final decision. When she gets home, Jules tells Matt that she decides to hire a prospective CEO, hoping she can buy some time to save her marriage. She also asks Matt to have a deeper conversation about their married life. After the conversation, Jules is very sad to know the fact and Matt also feels very guilty. Sometime later, Jules goes to Ben's home to tell him that she is convinced of the final decision. On the other hand, Ben greatly encourages her to think about how much this will change her authority and her passion for the company. Not only that, her creativity also may be hindered because of this. Eventually, Jules thanks Ben for reminding her of all the things she's been doing so far for the company. Shortly after, Matt unexpectedly drops in at the office and urges her to reconsider her final decision. He regrets his behavior all this time and feels ashamed that Jules was willing to give up whatever she had for him. Lastly, he promises to support her in her dreams. After they forgive each other, Jules goes out looking for Ben, who is enjoying his Tai Chi exercise group. She wants to tell him that she has changed her mind and Ben is happy to hear that. She finally lets herself relax and joins him in practicing Tai Chi, a symbolic act of her finding balance in her life. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.